On August 16, 2026, Red River Unitarian Universalist Church proudly hosted the Reverend Dr. Mark Y.A. Davies speaking on the end of the world as we know it. Off his service, Mark says, "In this discourse, I will explore how we might work together to end the world as we know it in order to create the world as it should be."
Welcome from Red River Unitarian Universalist. Thank you for joining us. The religion we practice in this church is centered in the here and now, rather than the hereafter. It is more of a thinking kind of religion than a believing kind. It is governed more by reason than by tradition, more concerned with the present than the past. It is concerned with getting the most out of life, with living wisely and well. A major aim for us is continually expanding our understanding of life and ourselves. This church is a community of people who share in the free and open search for a level of understanding that will enable us to be more fully and effectively alive. The church does not tell us what we must believe. It stimulates us to think. It supports us in our search. You are welcome to join us. Our centering value is love, with transformation, generosity, equity, interdependence, justice, and pluralism.
We whose journeys are always beginning, we whose mission always awaits us, we whose visions are bent on loving, we gather together here. We gather as a community drawn together out of common need, each toting our own carpet bag of treasures and dreams. We gather together seeking meaning, yearning to understand life in all of its dimensions, as it challenges and expands, as it burdens, as it consoles and heals. We gather together with questions, the kinds of questions that provoke us to the path of action. We gather with hope, the kind of hope that pulses on through uncertainty. We gather with tenderness, the kind of tenderness that can only be born from knowing human capabilities as well as human imperfections. We gather wanting certainty and having none, but we are wakeful to possibilities as we seek discernment and gentle judgment. We gather then unbounded but close. We gather thirsting. We gather drawn to our source. Let us come together in this time of worship. At this time, we'll have our prelude, but also an opportunity for you to light a candle of community on the table to my right. You can light a candle for a joy or a concern, or to remember someone, or simply to bring more light into our space. Hear these words for our chalice lighting. We call forth the life of our faith by igniting our chalice. This spark of new beginnings invites us into a sacred space to reflect where we have been and where we are going. Even knowing that this particular flame will intentionally end with our ritual extinguishing, we fear not its end. For we know, with brave hearts, that from every ending of our lives, we are sent forth to make a new beginning. Let us join together in our spoken affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth and freedom, and to help one another. We light this peace candle to remind us of all the places in the world where there is no peace. Join me in the words now on the screen. Lead me from death to life, from falsehood to truth. Lead me from despair to hope, from fear to trust. Lead me from hate to love, from war to peace. Let peace fill our hearts, our world, our universe. And now it's time for our UU snippet.
We're going to talk today about the Unitarian Universalist Association, the UUA. It's the central organization for the Unitarian Universalist religious movement in the United States. It is a liberal, inclusive faith that unites diverse congregations under shared values rather than a single set of religious doctrines. The mission of the Unitarian Universalist Association is to equip congregations for health and vitality, to support and train lay and professional leaders, and to advance Unitarian Universalist values in the world. The UUA's 1,000 plus member congregations are committed to inseparable and deeply independent shared values of interdependence, transformation, generosity, pluralism, justice, and equity, all centered around love. Our faith tradition is diverse and inclusive. We grew from the union of two radical Christian groups, the Universalists, who were organized in 1793, and the Unitarians, who were organized in 1825. They joined to become the UUA in 1961. Across the globe, our legacy reaches back centuries to liberal religious pioneers in England, Poland, and Transylvania. Each UU congregation is autonomous. Congregational leaders set their own priorities and choose their own ministers and staff. Congregations vote for the leaders of the UUA, who oversee the central staff and resources. The UUA supports congregations in their work by training ministers, publishing books, and the UU World magazine, providing religious education, curricula, offering shared services, coordinating social justice activities, and more. The UUA is led by the elected president, moderator, and board of trustees. These leaders are elected every few years by congregational delegates at the annual General Assembly gathering. The president is the chief executive of the UUA and its public spokesperson. The moderator chairs the business meetings of the General Assembly and meetings of the Board of Trustees. Specialized boards and committees and advisors also help lead the UUA. New congregations and groups can join the UUA if they choose. Every congregation is also part of the UUA's districts and regions. The UUA recognizes congregations of any size or type. Groups seeking a relationship with the UUA can also become covenanting communities or related organizations. The UUA.org website provides information and resources for anyone to use. It offers background on UU and the UUA's identity and mission by providing information about the faith, its congregations, worship, and public programs. It supports lifespan education and learning and provides a library of material for individual inspiration, service ideas, a bookstore and music, and so much more.
Thank you.
Our opening thought comes to us from David Suzuki from Is It Too Late to Escape Climate Catastrophe? Suzuki writes, "It's still possible to move off this destructive path, but not if we continue to elevate human-invented economic systems and politics above the foundation of our existence, which is nature, clean air, safe water, rich soil, toxic-free food, and sunlight."
Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in all. Keep with the web of creation your vow. Giving, receiving as love shows us how. Wake now my reason, reach out to the new. Join with each pilgrim who quests for the true. Honor the beauty and wisdom of time. Suffer thy limit and praise the sublime. Wake now, compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the wide sky. Take as your neighbor both stranger and friend, praying and striving their hardship to end. Wake now my conscience, with justice thy guide. Join with all people whose rights are denied. Take not for granted a privileged place. God's love embraces the whole human race. Wake now my vision of ministry clear. Brighten my pathway with radiance here. Mingle my calling with all who will share. Work toward a planet transformed by our care.
Our next reading is from Life After Doom by Brian McLaren. McLaren writes, "We live in between two impending dangers, both real, both potential threats to our existence. To our left, we face the frightening gradual accumulation of environmental and social consequences of ecological overshoot. To our right, we face the more sudden social consequences of having our terror management strategies fail, plunging us and our neighbors into our most reactive, most neurotic, and least rational behaviors, right at a time when we need cool heads and a collaborative spirit." This time we'll join together for our time of meditation. We'll be hearing the words from Joy Berry, "On the Loom, a Prayer for the Work of the People." Take a moment to get settled, get centered. Take some deep breaths to relax. great circle, creatrix and matrix, loom on which we are woven, a gathered people, tied tightly and shaped by our human connection into something more beautiful, more vibrant, more complete. Where even our raggedy edges are bound together with our hope, the warp of our grief and sorrowful anger, our shared and sacred wounds, are held by the weft of grace and faith. In what we are creating and what we are becoming, and so it is that we are stitched together in the only wholeness we may ever know. We come together here to remember how we are called, to put our hands and our hearts to sacred work that we did not begin and will not complete. To share in the making and remaking of a story we weave together, one big enough to hold us all. To connecting, to reconnecting, to living on the loom, to belonging and becoming this most human and most holy work. Our next reading is from Naomi Klein, from her book, This Changes Everything. She writes, "Our economic system and our planetary system are now at war. Or, more accurately, our economy is at war with many forms of life on Earth, including human life. What the climate needs to avoid collapse is a contraction in humanity's use of resources. What our economic model demands to avoid collapse is unfettered expansion. Only one of these sets of rules can be changed, and it's not the laws of nature."
The Eastern world, it is exploding, violence flaring, bullets loading, You're old enough to kill, but not for voting. You don't believe in war, but what's that gun you're toting? And even the Jordan River has bodies floating. But you tell me over and over and over again, my friend, you don't believe we're on the eve of destruction. Don't you understand what I'm trying to say? And can't you feel the fears that I'm feeling today? If the button is pushed, there's no running away. There'll be no one to save with the world in a grave. Take a look around you, boy. It's bound to scare you, boy. And you tell me over and over and over again, my friend, you don't believe we're on the eve of destruction. Think of all the hate there is in Red China. Then take a look around to Selma, Alabama. You may leave here for 4 days in space, but when you return, it's the same old place. The pounding of the drums, the pride and disgrace. You can bury your dead, but don't leave a trace. Hate your next door neighbor, but don't forget to say grace. And tell me over and over and over and over again, my friend, you don't believe we're on the eve of destruction. Oh no, no, you don't believe we're on the eve of destruction.
It's the end of the world as we know it. In this discourse, I'll be exploring how we might work together to end the world as we know it in order to create the world as it should be. I have to give a shout out to the rock group REM. Many of you may know of REM from Athens, Georgia. I have to give a shout out to them for the title of today's discourse, as it comes from their song title. It's the end of the world as we know it. And after our time of giving today, you'll have a chance to attempt to sing that song along with Michael Stipe. If you're able to sing along, I'll be very, very impressed with you. Wishing for the end of an unjust and brutal world as we know it is not a new phenomenon. We see it expressed over and over again in the apocalyptic literature of various religions, and we also see it expressed in the literature and work of liberation and revolutionary movements in the world, both past and present, working to end injustice and oppression. One of my professors that I worked with at Boston University, I was her teaching fellow for a couple of years. Her name was Paula Fredrickson. She was an expert on Jewish and Christian apocalyptic literature, and she often would remind her students that apocalyptic literature is not written by happy people. It's written by people who are deeply disappointed in the way things are, and who are longing for their experience of suffering and the injustice of the world as they know it to come to an end. Being controlled and oppressed by an imperial power and being persecuted and even fed to the lions does not make for a happy people. Being under the control of a violent and brutal empire does not make for happy people. And much of the apocalyptic literature in the Jewish and Christian traditions is written in that kind of context. So with that in mind, I actually find that the most helpful way to read apocalyptic literature is not how it is often read today as a prediction of when the world will end or that the world will actually end, but rather as a prophetic statement that the world as we know it, an unjust world that the powerful have created and perpetuated, must end before a new world of love and justice can break through. It is a tragic irony that the apocalyptic literature of the Christian tradition that was written as a rebuke and rejection of the brutality of empire is now being used by empire to control the hearts and minds of the masses for the sake of perpetuating empire and its unjust and violent ways. The longing for a new and just world so often expressed in apocalyptic literature has been tragically transformed into a nihilistic obsession with the destruction of the world and finding ways to escape this destruction by seeking personal salvation in another world after this life. Rather than a prophetic force for change in this world, apocalyptic visions have been co-opted by the powerful to keep the oppressed and the vulnerable in their place. So many aspects of the world as we know it must end for the world as we need it to begin. It's imperative that we see clearly that the world that oligarchs want is not the world that people and the planet need. If people spent more time working together to transform our world towards love and justice, rather than attempting to escape this world for a heaven above, it would go a long way towards avoiding the hell on earth that the oligarchs are currently creating. There are, I would say, roughly 3 responses to the unsustainable and unjust situation that we are currently experiencing in the world right now. These are 3 types. There's probably all sorts of variations in between and combinations, but these are 3 typical responses, I think, to what we're experiencing. One possible response is for us to have an unrealistic pie-in-the-sky hope that everything is going to be all right. Don't worry, be happy. It's all going to be all right in the end. It's all going to come together for us. This response, this very optimistic response, this overly optimistic response, this unrealistically optimistic response might make us feel better for a moment, or make us feel better that somehow we're going to escape the suffering that we're experiencing, but it actually does nothing to make the world a better place for those who are being oppressed, for those who are being exploited. Those who are in control of the world as we know it would like for there to be a lot of overly optimistic people walking around this world. A second option goes in the opposite direction towards hopelessness and despair, extreme pessimism. All is lost. We are doomed, and there is nothing that we can do about it. And there's nothing that you can do about it. It's done. It's finished. It's over. The oligarchs and the autocrats would love for us to have that attitude as well. They want people to give up on the possibility of change and transformation. They want people to feel hopeless, to stop believing in democratic political processes. But the best way to resist the oligarchs and autocrats is actually by redoubling our enthusiasm and our commitment to democracy, and to use every nonviolent democratic tool at our disposal to keep hope and democracy alive, to keep hope in the people alive, to keep hope in our future alive, because we know that the countries who have been able to do that, who've been able to be more democratic and participatory, are having the best present right now and will continue to have in the future the best kind of society and flourishing possible. They're more happy, they're more healthy, they're more educated, they're more sustainable, they're actually more free, they're more just, and less corrupt than we are as a nation. But hopelessness and despair is that second option. There's nothing we can do about it. You hear a lot of that, even among persons who have been very engaged in the past. Things are getting so bad that they're looking around. David Suzuki is an example of that. He's becoming more pessimistic as time goes by. They're looking around and wondering if there's anything that we can do. Suzuki does believe that there is, but it's understandable that people would get to that point of despair and hopelessness given the world that we're experiencing. A third option, which is the option that I think is the most helpful, even though it's a difficult one to maintain, it's a difficult one to sustain. The third option is realistic hope, or what might more complexly be called meliorism. Meliorism is not optimism on one extreme or pessimism on the other extreme. You've heard the word ameliorate, to make something better, right? So meliorism is the belief that things can get better, but it's not a given that they are going to get better. It's going to take hard work, it's going to take us coming together, and it's going to take sacrifice to make things better. Because when we look at the awareness that we have of both evil and also our capacity for goodness in humanity, and the lasting impression I know that's made on me, we realize that things are just not going to get better by themselves, but that humans do have the capability for great good, to bring about great change in the world. We've seen too many human failings, including our own, to be overly optimistic about the future, but we've also seen too many wonderful acts of life-giving love and compassion to be overly pessimistic about the future as well. So I'm a meliorist. I believe we can make the world a better place through hard work and through shared commitment. But there is no guarantee. It is up to us. It's our responsibility. We have to take that responsibility. It may actually be true that the world as we know it is coming to an end. But this just may be the best opportunity we have to work together to create a new and better world for both our human community and our ecological community. Perhaps the end of the world as we know it must take place before the world as we need it can more fully come into existence. We need the end of a violent world. We need the end of a patriarchal and misogynist world. We need the end of an unjust and racist world. We need the end of a world that is controlled by the wealthy and powerful to satisfy their greed. We need the end of a cruel, brutal, and unsustainable world. We need an end to the worst of the world to bring the best of the world into being. And if we do the necessary work to bring this new world into being, this new world of beloved community into existence, we might find ourselves joining in the chorus of REM's song. It's the end of the world as we know it. That's not the end of the chorus, though, right? It's the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine. And I feel fine. At this time, we have an opportunity for giving. You can give at the table, and there's also opportunities to give online. do that? Hear these words for our benediction from Emily Richards. May you leave this time together changed. May the promises you have made to yourself about who you want to be feel closer to reality of who you are right now. May you share that feeling of transformation wherever you may go. May it spread into every word, deed, thought, and interaction until we are all changed, transformed, and transforming together, becoming our better selves. Let's join together now in extinguishing the chalices. We extinguish these flames, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.